welcome to Crime Bytes, the show where we talk about some truly bizarre and disturbing crime cases. My name is Liz, and today is Christmas. So, Merry Christmas. I hope you all are having a fantastic holiday if you celebrate, and if you don't, I hope you are having a great day. Yesterday, we talked about Bruce Pardo, a man scorned who murdered his ex and most of her family on Christmas Eve, dressed as no one other than Father Christmas himself. And today we're going to look at a similar case, but first let's pause for a quick promotion. It's Christmas, and hopefully you have all of your Christmas shopping done at this point, or you're DIYing. So why not celebrate by treating yourself to a whiter and brighter smile to bring in the New Year's with? And if that sounds like a good plan for you, you should totally check out Snow. I've been using Snow for 3 years now, and they are who I credit with giving me the confidence to smile as wide as I want, whenever I want. And they've got these really cool dissolving white strips as part of their diamond collection. And I picked them up right before the new year. Guys, yeah, they're good. They're exactly what I needed for that extra boost. And they're great for that little boost of confidence for a day or night out, whatever you need it for. Anyhow, if you click the link right in my description to try Snow for the first time today, they will give you 15% off of your order. So what are you waiting for? Let's get smiling bright. And with that, let's get back to today's story. So today's events took place on Christmas Day in 2011, and we're going back to Texas today, where two families are gathering in Grapevine, Texas to celebrate Christmas. Things were a little bit tense though. The apartment we're visiting belonged to Fatima or Nazarene Yazdanpanah. And I'll just apologize now in advance for this episode with the names if I am not pronouncing them quite right. I did look them up and I heard a couple different pronunciations. So anyways, Nazarene had recently relocated here with her two children, Nona and Ali. She had invited her sister Zohreh and her family, which consisted of her husband, Mohammed, and her daughter, Sahra. She would also allow her soon-to-be ex-husband to stop by and exchange gifts with them. Things weren't great between them, obviously, because they were getting divorced, but they were trying to remain as amicable as possible for their children. And they had been doing as good as they could with that for their sakes. They both loved their kids so much. Aziz had even gotten a key to their new apartment so that he could stop by whenever he wanted to see his children. Aziz and Nazarene were both born in Iran and had married in 1987. They would move to a large home in Colleyville, Texas, but they would wait about 5 years before they started their family. In 1992, they would welcome their daughter Nona, and another 5 years later, in 1997, their son Ali would be born. Aziz was definitely the stricter of the two parents, where Nazarene was described as more understanding. But everyone who knew them would say that they both loved their children very much. Now, Nazarene was a very bright and kind woman, but she was also extremely ambitious. And in spite of this, and in spite of her having her cosmetology license, she decided to stay home and raise their family because Aziz wanted to be the breadwinner. And that was important to him. He worked in real estate, and when they were first married, he was doing okay, but this would change and business would kind of slow down for him. In 1996, he would actually be placed on 3 years of probation for providing a false tax income return. He ended up being fined $1,000 and ordered to pay $30,000 in restitutions. Eventually, he would become unemployed, and this would go on for about a decade. And in spite of his protests, Nazarene would decide to go back to work to support their family and try and pay down the debt that they were just amassing at this point. To say that Aziz was unhappy about this would be an understatement. So Nazarene would take not one, but 2 jobs at local spas to try and help the family, and Aziz would stay home with the dog and kids. Even with the 2 jobs, it wasn't enough to fix the damage that they had already kind of done to their financial situation, and they would decide to file for bankruptcy in August of 2010 to try and keep their house from being foreclosed on. And I'm not sure exactly how that works. I've always assumed that you file for bankruptcy and then of course you're going to lose your house, but I guess that's not always the case. With all of this going on, Nazarene had had enough and decided to leave Aziz. She would tell one of her coworkers that her choice to divorce him ultimately came down to him not providing for his family like he promised to, which they were pretty private people, but it looks like he didn't want her to provide for them either, which is sad. It looks like wanting those traditional roles just really did do a number to this couple. And that's all well and good if it works for you and your partner and family, but it clearly didn't for this couple. Anyhow, Nazarene decided to leave Aziz in April of 2011, and she would take her children with her and move to an apartment in Grapevine. Her brother would help her get moved and get her set up with the utilities because she was really struggling in spite of still working 2 jobs. Aziz would stay in their large family home, but it would end up being foreclosed on despite their efforts to avoid that. Aziz had a neighbor who called him Packing Heat Bob, which was an interesting nickname that stuck with him because he always carried a gun around with him. Apparently, he did this after things got a little off with his daughter and one of her ex-boyfriends. I mean, when in Texas, right? But anyhow, Aziz would go out for drinks with one of his friends and kind of vent to him about everything that was going on during his divorce. He would say that all of his marital problems had stemmed from Nazarene's sister, Zohreh. He thought that she had control of her, and she was slowly turning not only his wife Nazarene, but his children against him. He told his friend that he used to be close with her husband, so close, in fact, that they would both lie about going on business trips together, and instead they would rent hotel rooms and get prostitutes. So, yeah. But then Zohreh would find out about Mohammed and place blame on Aziz to cover up for himself. Which, I don't know. If he's pretending to go on these business trips without a job, I don't get it. But Mohammed, his brother-in-law, apparently owned this big family ranch and brought him on trips. Then on Christmas Eve, Mohammed would host a huge party at his ranch, and Aziz was not invited. He was, however, invited to celebrate Christmas with his family the next morning at his soon-to-be ex-wife's apartment. He would arrive before his brother and sister-in-law and come with presents for his children dressed in a full Santa suit, in spite of their ages. When Mohammed, Zohreh, and Sahra got there, things seemed a little bit strained. Just before 11, Sahra would send a text to one of her friends saying that they just got there and that her uncle was also there, dressed as Santa. Awesome. Then at 11:16, she would send another message to her friend saying, now he wants to be all fatherly and win Father of the Year. Then at 11:34, this phone call would come into 911.
911, where is your emergency? Hello, Grapevine 911. You need help? Are you sick? What was that? Do you need an ambulance or police? Hello? One moment. I was getting heavy breathing on the phone and I need someone to talk to me, so please send both.
The audio on that call had to be enhanced because it is so quiet, but it's believed that the call came from Aziz after he had shot himself. You can hear him saying, "Help me," and "I'm shooting people." The police would respond and arrive at the apartment to find it completely silent. One officer would knock on the door and a second officer would wander around to the side of the apartment and kind of look in the window, and it looked like a few people were just sitting on the couch, but no one was responding to any of the knocks. They ended up breaking in the door and they found the family all positioned that way, most of them with multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Everyone was wearing pajamas except for Aziz, who had on the Santa suit still. Aziz and Mohammed both had handguns in their hands, which initially confused the responding officers, but they ended up performing gunshot powder residue tests on both men to determine that Aziz was the only one to have fired a weapon. He must have decided to try and frame his brother-in-law for the attack as well. No love lost there, clearly. At this point, Nona was just starting out in a community college and had plans to move to California to continue her education and ultimately become a lawyer. Ali had just started his freshman year in high school, and their cousin Sahra was a pre-med student at the University of Texas. They had such bright futures ahead of them, and this is just so terrible. The family was given a private memorial and laid to rest at the Resland Memorial Park in Dallas. Aziz is not there, and it is unknown where he is. So, what do you guys think about this one? It's a little similar to yesterday's case. Both men tried to eliminate their families dressed like Santa, both because of underlying money issues. But there were clearly some differences with underlying motives and intent. Bruce seemed more selfish, where Aziz definitely was selfish as well, but he was looking to end his family because he couldn't have them, I think, and Bruce just seemed not to want to pay his ex. Anyhow, that's going to do it, but let's get Detective Scoop Dog on here for his real facts. Come here, buddy. Come here. Chickens. Buddy. Woo-woo. Come here. There's a bacon. Oh, better. All right. Let's see. Scoop Dog for his real facts. Hang on, beep beep. Beep beep. Here he comes. All right. He wants to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Hi. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday. And today's real fact is going to be hug the people you love a little tighter. Tell them you love them because you really just don't know. Everything could change in an instant. And with that, I just want to make today's positive highlight a thank you to all of the organizations who give back during the holidays, be it businesses, churches, nonprofits, or just people giving back because they can. Thank you. I've done a little bit of volunteering this holiday season, and I can say I've been beyond touched by how kind people truly can be. We talk about the terrible things on this channel, so seeing people who need it getting blessings or provided for, it's kind of like soul food. So with that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or Happy 25th of December. Whatever suits you best. I hope you enjoyed today's story or something like that. It was terrible, but I You know what I mean. And I am here with a new story like this one every Tuesday, so I would strongly suggest subscribing if that's your sort of thing. Scooter loves new subscribers. Scooter approved. And if you missed yesterday's Bad Santa, you can click this link here. And until next week, please stay safe out there. Bye.